The lawyer representing alleged victim for Sean Diddy Coons said the current cases against the news mogul are just the tip of the iceberg and that other celebrities will be consequent. Lisa Bloom was speaking to our Arsenal on ABC. We know, of course, at the moment Sean Coons is behind bars awaiting trial for charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. He denies, as the criminal case makes out, that he, with the help of some of his employees, coerced and abused individuals for a number of years using blackmail and violence to silence his victims. On top of the criminal case, though, there is now a mounting number of civil cases taking place as well, more than 20 so far, and one of them being the case Lisa Bloom is bringing for her client, Dawn Richard. Dawn Richard was in two bands that the rapper helped form. One came out of a reality show called Danity Kane, and she went on to be in another band that the rapper formed called Diddy Dirty Money. Now, in her case, she alleges that she was subjected to inhumane working conditions and had threats made to her life. And Lisa Bloom, who we caught up with in Los Angeles, has been talking to us about how she believes there are hundreds more people she feels could be making cases who are too scared to speak out. Here's what she told me.
Dawn Richard was on the television show Making the Band in the early 2000s, where thousands and thousands of people...
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is facing mounting allegations of abuse, with both criminal and civil cases shedding light on years of alleged misconduct. Diddy, currently behind bars awaiting trial for charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, is accused of using coercion, violence, and blackmail to silence victims over several years. While he denies all allegations, the lawsuits are piling up, with over 20 civil cases already filed, including one brought by singer and reality TV star Dawn Richard.
Dawn Richard was on the television show Making the Band in the early 2000s, where thousands and thousands of people tried out to be on the show. And she alleges that during the show, Making the Band, that she and the others were subjected to horrendous conditions. They weren't allowed to eat. They weren't allowed to sleep. They were locked in places and not allowed to eat. They were subjected to all kinds of gender comments, calling them names, insulting them. She alleges that she was groped and grabbed by some men, that she witnessed and physically assaulting other women, that he restrained her, locked her in cars and other places, tested her. And it was just a really terrifying experience. She says that when she tried to speak out on behalf of other women who he was abusing her presence, she was threatened, and she felt very, very fearful. And she wanted to put her real name on the case. People know her. She has over 1 million social media followers. She has a significant fan base. And she wanted to put her name on it. She thought it was very brave that Cassie Ventura had done that, and she wanted to follow that inspiration. There's no doubt in my mind that Sean Combs felt that he was above the law many, many years. There was an early case against him, a criminal case, where he was acquitted.
Richard Roback, known for her time in the Diddy-formed groups Danity Kane and Dirty Money, alleges horrifying treatment while under Combs' mentorship. She claims contestants on the early 2000s reality show Making the Band were subjected to inhumane conditions, deprived of food and sleep, locked in spaces and unable to leave. Richard's accusations go further, alleging sexual assault, false imprisonment, and violent threats at the hands of Combs.
And I think that made him feel emboldened and empowered, that he could get away with anything. I know some of the people that worked for him have said that made them terrified that the law was just going to come to him. There was not going to be any accountability. I think we might see more criminal charges come. Dawn has cooperated with the Department of Justice. She's sat in sessions. I assume other people probably have as well. So that could very well be forthcoming. I think there will be more civil suits as well. People have more control over civil suits. I have no doubt that there are hundreds more people who have these types of allegations. Sexual assault, physical violence, threats, sex trafficking against people associated with it. And that many are just too afraid to come forward, or that they signed NDA, they think they have those who knew and were complicit and were making money off of this knew that Dawn and others were being victims. I think we're in a new era now where we don't just want to hold the primary perpetrators. We want to hold accountable anybody who's complicit, because victimized people on this scale, where we're probably talking about hundreds of people, you can't do that alone. You have to have helpers, people who actually saw incidents of abuse or heard reports of incidents of abuse and turned a blind eye to it and continued funding these parties and these events where things happen. They should be held accountable, and we intend to do that. Okay? Where we start is, yes, of course, with Sean. He is the top of the pyramid. He is the one orchestrating everything. But those who helped him also.
Richard is one of few accusers willing to put her name on the line, inspired by other women's bravery. Her attorney, Lisa Bloom, suggests that hundreds more victims may exist, but are either too afraid to come forward or bound by non-disclosure agreements. Bloom has pledged not only to hold Combs accountable, but also those complicit in enabling his alleged crimes. A perpetrator doesn't act alone, she stated. There are people who funded, facilitated, or ignored reports of abuse, and they too should face justice. As recorded in the Supreme Court, as recorded in the FDA, as recorded in federal court.
The civil cases are proceeding right alongside the criminal case. Sean Combs' team has not asked for a stay to essentially freeze the civil cases, and certainly we're not asking for that. We want to charge ahead, and we are charging ahead. Right now, we are aggressively moving ahead. I look forward to taking Sean Combs' deposition in prison, and then we move the case forward, hopefully to trial. For one thing, we know where he is. We can't say he's unavailable and out of town. And I've been to prisons many times in many cases. That is fine with me. I am very comfortable going and taking a deposition. We don't have a date yet. I would expect it to be in the next 3 to 6 months. I would expect his side to fight it for a while, but eventually we are entitled to it. Every party to the case, has to sit for a deposition. Rules apply to Sean Combs. Apparently he's lived his whole life thinking that they don't, but they do, and we're going to find that out in the course of it.
Well, we put Lisa Bloom's claims to Sean Combs via his lawyers, particularly with regards to the Dawn Richard case, and we've got a statement from America Wolf, who is representing him, who said Mr. Combs is shocked and disappointed by this lawsuit. In an attempt to rewrite history, Dawn Richard has now manufactured a series of false claims, all in the hopes of trying to payday. Immediately timed to coincide with her album release in press store. It's unfortunate that Miss Richard has cast her 20th venture aside to try and get money from Mr. Combs, is confidently standing on truth and looks forward to proving that in court, that the civil cases are continuing at the pace, as is the civil case as well. He is due, his sentences are due in court tomorrow for another pre-trial hearing with regards to the criminal case, with a view thought to that coming to trial in
May. Essentially freeze the civil cases, and certainly we're not asking for that. We want to charge ahead, and we are charging ahead. Right now, we are aggressively moving ahead the country. I look forward to taking Sean Combs' deposition in prison, and then we move the case forward, hopefully to trial. For one thing, we know where he is. We can't say he's unavailable and out of town. And I've been to prisons many times in many cases. That is fine with me. I am very comfortable going and taking a deposition. We don't have a date yet. I would expect it to be in the next 3 to 6 months. I would expect his side to fight it for a while, but eventually we are entitled to it. Every party to the case, has to sit for a deposition. Rules apply to Sean Combs. Apparently he's lived his whole life thinking that they don't, but they do, and we're going to find that out in the course of our case.
Well, we put Lisa Bloom's claims to Sean Combs via his lawyers, with regards to the Dawn Richard case, and we've got a statement from America Wolf, who is representing him, who said Mr. Combs is shocked and disappointed by this lawsuit. In an attempt to rewrite history, Dawn Richard has now manufactured a series of false claims, all in the hopes of trying to payday. Immediately timed to coincide with her album release in press store. It's
unfortunate that Miss Richard has passed.
Combs' legal team has fired back, dismissing Richard's claims as an attempt to seek a payout conveniently timed with her album release. In a statement, his lawyers said, "Mr. Combs stands on truth and looks forward to proving his innocence in court." As the cases progress, experts suggest more lawsuits and possibly further criminal charges may emerge. Richard and her team are aggressively pursuing justice, with depositions and trials expected in the months ahead. Whether in the courtroom or in public opinion, the pressure on Sean "Diddy" Combs is only intensifying.